Hi everyone, welcome to this week's episode of No Such Thing as a Fish, where we were joined by the brilliant Daniel Sloss. Now, anyone who's really into their comedy will definitely know Daniel. He is a Scottish comedian, but he basically tours all the way around the world and really is one of the biggest stand-up names in the entire world right now. We were absolutely thrilled that he came on the show, and we had such a great time, and really hope you enjoy this show, which I'm certain you will. He has a little bit of a hidden inner geek to him, which I know you'll definitely enjoy. But if you want to know more about him, then the best thing to do is to go to danielsloss.com. That's DANIELSLOSS. And if you go to that website, you will see that he is about to go on tour, and basically it would be easier for me to say the places where he's not going to be, because he's going to be all over the UK. He'll be in New Zealand, in Australia, in America, in Europe, all sorts of places all over the world. And at the end of the year, on November the 28th, he is coming back to London and doing the Wembley Arena. Oh my gosh, I have just been there to a gig. That is a big, big venue, but I'm sure he will do it justice because he is a brilliant, brilliant comedian, which you're about to find out on this show. So, really hope you enjoy it. Quick reminder, do go to patreon.com if you'd like to learn more about Club Fish, which is where you can get loads and loads of extras from us. I won't go into it again. Listen to old episodes. We talk about it every week. But no, there is some really cool stuff on there. So do go to patreon.com/clubfish if you fancy that. But if not, then please enjoy this week's show with the amazing Daniel Sloss. On with the podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of No Such Thing as a Fish, a weekly podcast coming to you from the QI offices in Holborn. My name is Dan Schreiber. I'm sitting here with Andrew Hunter-Murray, James Harkin, and Daniel Sloss. And once again, we have gathered around the microphones with our 4 favorite facts from the last 7 days. And in no particular order, here we go. Starting with fact number 1, and that is Dan.
The first known written reference about Scotland comes from Rome, and it said, "Don't go there, it's awful."
Right.
And even if you were to turn over a bunch of evidence right now that says that this statement is not true, it is still true. It's too plausible to not, to not be the case.
The thing is, though, compared to Rome's really nice.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Sunny.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes sunny in Scotland.
Sometimes, but I mean, now it's getting better. We're the only country that's really enjoying global warming.
So do you know who it was who said this?
No, I don't. But I know this idea that the Romans never conquered Scotland, and that's the way the Scots like to pitch it.
Right.
It's that the Romans, they went through Gaul, they went through England, they did all that. They got to Scotland, and we were just too savage and too brutal that they couldn't be bothered to conquer the last 600 miles.
Yeah.
There are a few ancient descriptions of Britain which really make clear how peripheral Britain was. The whole every nation and every tribe and every island of Britain was completely extraneous to world affairs. It just wasn't a thing. And so Cassius Dio, ancient writer, this is just a description of those who live on the 2 sides of a big wall. So there's the Caledonians, which is an old name for the Scottish, and the Maitai. I don't know how that's pronounced.
Mai Tai.
Mai Tai, that's a...
Mai Tai.
That's an MMA.
Yeah. Or a delicious alcoholic beverage.
Oh, yes. The Mai Tai. So the Mai Tais all carry around little umbrellas and sparklers.
That sounds like the English to me. Yes, that's a fair, accurate description.
So the Mai Tai live south of the wall which divides the island, and the Caledonians on the other side. Yes. Neither of these groups of people has learned how to make a wall.
No.
They possess neither walls, cities, nor tilled fields, but they live on their flocks, wild game, and certain fruits. They dwell in tents, possess their women in common, and they...
Very liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this... I mean, see if you think this applies to anyone in the 21st century. They can endure hunger and cold...
Geordies.
Scotland. Geordies.
Yeah, Geordies as well.
They can endure... Okay. Hold that thought. They can endure hunger and cold and any kind of hardship, for they plunge into the swamps and there exist for many days with only their heads above water. Wow. This is apparently the thing.
Yeah, I can't picture my ancestors just like up to their necks in a bog, just because like that's the only place you can safely fart. It stinks in here. Yeah, it does. We're in a bog. Like, why would it not stink in here?
But I think one of the main things is that Scotland and Britain more generally were on the edge of the empire.
Yes.
And so they used it as like a counterpoint to their civilization. So anything that they thought was civilized, they said that the barbarians living up north weren't doing.
Yeah.
And they were different than us, weren't they?
And I'm sure you will all correct me if I'm wrong here, but barbarian, I learned this in classical studies, came from barbar is what they thought we sounded like when we spoke. That was their me. I
think that's right. Yeah, that
that's right.
Yeah, right. You were born in England.
Don't, how dare you?
How
dare you? This is not what we came on the podcast to fact check. We're not fact checking my history. We're fact checking Roman history.
Dan, I was so surprised.
How fucking dare you?
I was so surprised when you put that accent on. As soon as the mics came on, the accent came on. It's so
You've got
weird.
a lovely Tunbridge Wells twang to you.
Can this table be flipped?
Whereabouts? Where's your secret shame?
Oh, God, right. So, through no fault of my own, my parents, the whores, they met at Edinburgh University where they fell in love, north of the wall, right? And then they moved to London and they accidentally conceived me, and they will deny to this day that it was an accidental conception. But if you get them to tell you the story about when I was conceived, they were unemployed, living on a houseboat on the Thames. So either I was unintentional or I was intentional, and they suck.
So interesting, because my main concern is whether you're from south of the river or not. And actually, you've outplayed me by being
on the river.
The
actual river boy.
I don't know what class you are. I can't judge you.
Kingston upon Thames. And then
very nice.
My dad's from the north of Scotland, Thurso. My mum's side of the family from East Kilbride.
Yeah.
Outside Glasgow. Real working class Scots for generations and generations.
Yeah, and then you the English.
And then me, Dan, I'm going to fucking listen. It still hurts.
Right, do you guys want a quiz?
Yes, please.
Yeah, go for
All right,
it.
here we go. Who said this about the people of Britain? Was it an ancient world writer, or was it the New York Times in 2020?
Okay.
Oh, great. This is good.
How many questions in this quiz?
4.
Great. Okay. Andy usually hits us with a 1-question quiz.
Just a question.
Yeah.
The sky is gloomy with many clouds. I've rephrased these a little bit, the sentiment is
But not,
identical.
if they were in the original Latin, it would be a bit of a giveaway, wouldn't it?
The sky is gloomy with many clouds and showers are frequent.
That seems too tame. I feel like that's going to be a Roman general. I feel like that's an old-timey.
I'll take the NYT then.
Okay, I'll go old-timey.
It's Tacitus. 100 AD.
Right.
They cavort by the hundreds in swamps.
Oh, no. Now, Scotland did just qualify for the World Cup for the first time since 1998.
I'm going New York Times with that one.
Yeah?
It's hard not to.
You're all right. It's the New York Times in 2020.
No.
Yes.
Is it?
They wrote a piece about a heat wave where they said the people have been taking to the swamps, and what they meant was Hackney marshes.
Not in Scotland, though.
No. This is Britain.
Oh,
This is
Britain,
in
sorry.
general. Yeah.
The Hackney Marshes.
Yeah. They
Not that
confused it.
swampy, really.
They basically thought we were living Shrek style.
Yeah.
The people are taller than our own, although they are also bandy-legged.
That's got to be Strabo.
It's old school.
It's Strabo. It's first century AD.
Strabo.
Yeah, bandy-legged is not in the New York Times
No.
style guide.
I can't not picture Strabo as an Aussie every time we say his
Strabo.
name. Strabo.
Right, one more. You've all done disappointingly well, I'm afraid. The food in the capital is principally porridge and boiled mutton, but the food is sallow and predictable.
New York Times.
New York Times.
It's the New York Times
Yeah.
in 2020. Porridge
my
and boiled
God.
mutton was apparently the core of the British food scene until quite recently.
Right.
That's 4 out of 4 for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Well done.
Dan, do you own an island in Scotland by any chance?
Do I own one?
Yeah, because I was doing some Googling about islands generally, because one of the initial facts, Dan, that you sent us was about the fact that there's a bunch of wallabies that are roaming wild on a little island.
The only population of wild wallabies in Scotland is on an island called Inchanacken.
Yeah, and you know who owns that island?
I do not.
Kirsty Young of Desert Island Discs. She bought her own island. and
Her own desert
it's
island.
her own desert island. So
And she took wallabies to it.
yeah, they were there already.
It's her luxury, and she's
Complete words to Shakespeare and a load of wallabies.
She inherited the wallabies that are already there, which is very exciting. Yeah.
Do we know how they got there in the first place?
Yes. So I can't remember what year it was, but there was like a Scottish aristocrat lady went to Australia, fell in love with these wallabies. No matter what the locals told her that they were just vermin, she was like, "I'll take them home. I'll domesticate them."
No.
Brought them back to Scotland. Very quickly realised that they were just vermin. Didn't have it in her heart to kill them, so it was just like just got like her butler or her manservant, whatever, to like canoe them over to this tiny little. Like island in the middle of the loch, where they've been for like 60 years now, for generations, and because they've got no natural predators, you can rent a canoe and a kayak. My friends have done it. Go to the islands, and the wallabies will just come up to you and hang out with you. And if you camp there, they'll sit outside round your fire because they've never been eaten.
Lamb Island. Have you heard of Lamb Island?
Lamb Island.
Yeah.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, that in 2009, that was bought by Uri Geller.
Unfortunately, it's now bent completely into such a shame.
He thinks that there's something mystical about it, that there used to be witch trials there, and that there's also a crystal orb that once belonged to Albert Einstein buried on the island. These are all the claims, but it's become a bit of a tourist attraction. So people who rent out boats will do tours around the island of this mystical island. But they're going cheap. You know, if you've got
The islands?
Yeah, if you've got money in that territory.
Yeah, but with rising sea waters, I mean, it's a false economy. If you're buying an island while sea levels are rising,
I think lakes are usually okay, aren't they? I reckon.
And I think Scotland is rising in general
Are we?
because of the ice sheet receding at the end of the last ice age, and I think Scotland is still bouncing back.
On the islands, they have these incredible beaches in Scotland, right? Whereas if you go to Dover, you have big old cliffs, and that's because the entire country is on a slight slant.
But that's because Scottish people are fatter. So we're up on this end, then it's bringing up England on that end.
And we kind of always wondered about that.
Yeah. which is impressive because there's less people in Scotland than there are in London. It really goes to show just how much we love chocolate.
This podcast does not agree with that.
I'm from Scotland. I can be as racist to my own people as I like.
Here's an interesting thing that I found out this week. In the Oxford English Dictionary, there's 3 meanings for the word Albanian. Okay. Number 1, I bet you can guess.
Cocaine.
From
Someone from Albania.
Albania.
Right. Number 2, someone from Scotland. Because Scotland used to be called Alba and has been called Albania. In the 12th century, you get British people calling Scotland Albania.
Is that so?
Yeah, and the third one is someone from Albany, New York, is an Albanian as well.
Oh, I
Nice.
hope they're twinned in some way.
Yeah.
In a confusing way. Welcome to Albania. Twinned
Albany,
with... Yeah.
New York also has one of the weirdest venues in the entire world called the Egg.
Okay.
There's a egg-shaped building from the outside, which is on like 3 stilts. So you have to get this elevator up to this egg, and it's called the Egg. The Egg Albany. I've played it. It's a lovely venue.
Comedy venue.
A theatre venue. Like,
Tell us your best jokes.
great.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be invited
100%
back.
in. 100% in.
Are you looking for an opener at Wembley?
I'm trying to. There's so many egg puns going on in my head. I'm like, don't do it. Let's not. Come on now.
You were just talking about Albanians as a language point. There's a Scottish Wikipedia. Don't know if you've ever been on it, Daniel, but it's where the articles are sort of translated. Existing articles are translated
Into Scots.
into Scots.
Yeah.
And it was getting quite large. And then someone discovered that 49% of all the articles that were written by a 12-year-old kid from America who had never learned the language in the slightest and was making assumptions on what they'd seen online of how to translate it.
So this isn't Gaelic, this is Scots. So they're different things, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. So it's complete. And if anyone with a basic understanding would be like, what is this? And from 12 till 19, they wrote 49% of all the articles that existed on Scottish Wikipedia.
And if you read them, they're just like someone has written them in like a slightly racist Scottish accent.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Great.
And when they were told, they weren't like, got me. They were devastated. They were like, I thought I was doing a really good job.
That's so sweet.
You're like, oh, Jings McCribbins me Bob. It's like, no, we don't say that. We do not.
I've just realised one of the earliest ever maps of Scotland,
Ptolemy.
the map of Ptolemy, it was made in the 2nd century AD, and it's pretty good,
Unbelievably good.
except that
It's on its side.
Scotland sticks out to the right instead of going up. And it's as if it's had the Uri Geller treatment. It's really funny. The rest of the mainland goes up. You know, you can see Cornwall, you can see Kent, and it tapers up, and then suddenly it just turns a corner, and Scotland just sticks out to
And
the
what
east.
happened there?
An error.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah?
One more thing, actually. So the Romans, often not very nice about Britain, but it kind of carries on. So the first rough guide to Britain and the first Lonely Planet guide to Britain, they were both published for Australian tourists, and they were quite insulting to the British, I would say.
The Australians were.
Yeah, because it was for students a little bit. So, but then the British press really kind of went to town on it. So the first rough guide to Britain in 1996 said that the UK had a less than brilliant climate, a laughable indigenous cuisine, and an attitude to social class that is ingrained with the habits of feudalism.
Still true.
It's hard to argue, isn't
still
it?
all true.
That's
yeah.
typical of someone who was born on the Thames. You'd say that, Dan. I can't believe that.
Stop the podcast.
Stop the podcast.
Hi, everyone. We'd like to let you know that this week we are sponsored by Squarespace.
Yes, now you will probably know Squarespace already, but if you would like to create an online presence, launch a passion project online, you can do it most easily and effectively by using Squarespace.
Yeah, Squarespace, they have cutting-edge design. They allow you to fundraise directly on your website. They allow you to showcase your expertise with video content. They have all sorts on there.
James, if you were doing a Squarespace site, what expertise would you showcase?
Well, I would show people how to play the best golf of their life by taking videos of Rory McIlroy and showing them to them, and definitely not showing them videos of me.
Okay, that's a good website. Probably some legal hurdles to get over, but that's another matter for another time. They do offer, as James says, all sorts of stuff. If you want search engine optimization, SEO tools to show up more often on search engines, they have that. If you want to feature videos of other people playing golf, it's all available on Squarespace.
So go to squarespace.com/fish for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code FISH, and if you do that, you will save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Absolutely right. Squarespace.com/fish, and the offer code FISH at checkout will save you that sweet, sweet 10%.
4! On with the podcast.
On with the show.
Okay, it is time for fact number 2, and that is Andy.
My fact is, the man responsible for harnessing the power of Niagara Falls also had a pigeon girlfriend.
Yes. Many pigeon girlfriends.
Well, we'll get into his love life. This is
Who is he? Who is he?
This is Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
An incredibly important person in world history, basically. The man who really, more than almost anyone else, maybe excepting Edison, harnessed electricity, created electricity, and, you know, just worked out how to distribute electricity and to transport it across long distances. Like, harnessed Niagara Falls, you know, set up the hydroelectric power station to power, I think it was was it Buffalo in New York State? It was a New York City. Yeah. So he was a really, really interesting guy, born in Serbia, and he was a very eccentric man as well. And one of the things about him was that he seems to have lived as a celibate sort of all his life. No one knows he ever had a close relationship with anybody. He once fell in love briefly with a young woman called Anna, but then they nothing came of that. And then later in life, he had a pigeon girlfriend.
What does that mean, Andy, to have a pigeon girlfriend?
He would feed the birds outside the New York Public Library.
As you do to your wife.
Yes. Yeah.
Tuppence a bag. And the pigeons would approach in flocks. But there was one special pigeon which came every day. And he said she was beautiful. That one was different. It was a female. I would know that pigeon anywhere. She understood me and I understood her. I loved that pigeon. Yes. I loved her as a man loves a woman, and she loves me. And when she was ill, he knew about it. She would come to his room and stay, with him for days. And then this is so sad, this bit. He said, when that pigeon died, something went out of my life, and I knew my life's work was finished. quite something. I mean, he was very eccentric in his later years,
Yes.
but he had a real attachment to this bird. It's
And
so
that was
sweet.
when he lived in a hotel in New York because Thomas Edison hugely fucked him over. When he first came over, he was like, if you ever come to New York, I'll have a job for you. And then Tesla came over on the boat, and Edison was like, if you can fix this machine, I'll give you this amount of money. So Tesla not only fixed the machine, fixed it faster and made it and put vast improvements on it. And then when he asked Edison for the money, Edison said, you clearly just don't get the American sense of humor. And that started the rivalry between him and Edison. The problem was Edison, being American, and especially the height of imperialism and capitalism, would patent everything, whereas Tesla refused to patent any of his stuff early doors because he was a true firm believer that all energy should be free, especially if it was harnessed in that way. And it took him being screwed over by America so many times before he finally understood that some things had to be patented, but he didn't do enough of it. And so when he died penniless. And this is one of the few conspiracy theories I believe in and subscribe to. It's like,
For the listener, Dan was looking the other Dan straight in the eye there when he said
yeah. Like when he died, apparently the FBI or whatever the back in the 1800 version of the FBI went round to his house and confiscated a bunch of things because there are rumors that he was inventing a death ray. He predicted wireless telephones before they were ever invented, like almost a century before. There was a box with a bunch of tubes and wires which he said just took electricity out of the ether, the air just around, and it was able to generate this vehicle for 8 hours in a row. That thing was confiscated from his hotel, and they've never seen it again. Nobody knows what it was, how it created that. Now, obviously, it could be rumor, overtime, all this stuff. But I'm telling you, it's big American government.
It's the Indiana Jones warehouse.
Yeah.
It's gone into there.
Yeah.
But I think, I didn't know that side of his story, that he went penniless at the end of his life and that he was dating pigeons and that it was a bit odd. And the New York Times, if you go into the New York Times and you put his name in and you bring it to the years that he was alive, the headlines come out like a really eccentric, he almost sounds very sort of Trump-like with his claims. I got a headline here at July 11th, 1933. Dr. Tesla at 77, seldom sleeps. Inventor says his health and mind are better than ever. Expects to live beyond 140. He was making all and the death theme thing was...
Then he said that he attributed that to drinking very good whiskey, among a few other things. And when Prohibition came in, he said, now I'm only going to live to 130. Nightmare. He was brilliant. I love him.
The year after, Tesla at 78, Baer's new death beam, this is the one you're talking about, Dan, invention powerful enough to destroy 10,000 planes 250 miles away. He says the apparatus will kill without trace.
But he also thought that was going to be world peace after he invented that, right?
Yeah,
so
defensive weapon only, he says.
Yeah, he called it a peace ray, I think. And the idea is what's the point of having a war if Tesla can just press a button and all your planes blow up?
Yeah.
So everyone's going to become friends.
Yeah, it's a peace ray, guys.
Also,
fun.
all of this will be anti-Tesla propaganda because who was the other guy? Edison deeply wanted to discredit him because Tesla's alternating current was infinitely better than direct current. Because it requires less generators over distances. Tesla's electricity was vastly superior, and Edison didn't like that. So what Edison did to smear Tesla was got a full-size elephant, got Tesla's alternating current, ran it through the elephant and killed it in front of 10,000 people, being this is how dangerous all of this stuff is. So then as a rebuttal to that, I think it was a couple months later, that was when Tesla did a literal festival of lights and light bulbs throughout New York City, where there's that famous shot of him walking through the Tesla coil, where it's touching him, because that was him proving that you could touch electricity, and that Edison's understanding and picture of what direct current was a lie.
Yeah. Edison comes across as a bit of a hound.
A piece of poo, if you don't mind me saying.
No. Well, we don't use strong language on this podcast, Dan, but I think that I'm almost going to propose him as an enemy of the podcast, along with Mark Twain.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, obviously he was very important in lots of ways, but he electrocuted a lot of other animals as well to prove supposedly that Tesla's stuff was dangerous.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he was the first, for me, the first thing of what America really is, right? Which you can say it's about freedom, you can say it's about opportunity. What it is it's somebody getting rich the fastest, and they're doing everything they can to stop anyone else competing with that.
Yeah.
There is a Twain link, actually. We don't like Mark Twain on this show, Dan, just so you know.
Okay.
But one thing Tesla designed was an oscillating electrotherapy machine. And the idea was it would help people digest their food from the outside. So it's a
Poujouger
a poujouger.
from the outside.
Have you been reading my notes? That's what. Yeah, poujouger. And Tesla let Mark Twain try this and sort of strapped him into it and did not tell him that the need to relieve yourself comes quite quickly.
Basically vibrates you, right? Is that what it was?
It shuggles you.
Yeah,
it drudges
yeah.
you.
Right.
And Twain had to rush off in some distress to the nearest loo.
Can I do a
Nice.
poo Tesla fact then? While we're here?
Yes.
This is modern. So 40% of Tesla owners, so people who own Tesla cars,
Sorry.
think that birds deliberately poo on their cars.
Interesting.
They did a survey they asked people whether birds deliberately poo on the cars, and they also did a survey of all the cars and saw how often or how frequently birds poo on all the different cars. And they found that 40% of Tesla people think that the birds deliberately poo on there, but actually they don't feature in the top 10 of brands most pooed on.
Wow.
So it is all in their heads.
Oh, okay.
Good. You think that's just like guilt from?
I think so. That's what I think it is.
Buying your toothbrush from a Nazi.
Did you say you have a Tesla?
Yes.
So have you ever noticed an abundance of pigeon shit on your?
No, but
Oh, and the pigeons. It's the pigeons.
That's what I'm
they're coming
saying.
back.
That's what I'm saying. Is it a mark of respect? Is it sort of saying?
yeah, from my old boy.
Yeah, exactly.
For the only human man that loved us the way we deserved.
Yeah. He did the pigeon thing with Tesla. Like he didn't just date them; he nursed them as well. He spent a lot of money inventing sort of braces if they hurt themselves. So one broke a wing, he invented a sort of brace to make sure that the injured bird was okay. Big old fan.
Such an interesting man.
He
So
likes
for
it.
pigeons, are just don't get me wrong. Like in terms of birds, like they're not seagulls. If you're looking after seagulls, I think you should go in jail. Nobody's rescuing the bastards of the coast. Pigeons, I sort of get, but they're not.
People do get into pigeons, though, in quite a way. So sometimes I walk through St James's Park, which is in the middle of London, and there are a lot of pigeons there. And it's where people congregate and put food on their heads or their shoulders or their knees or their toes.
What?
And
So that the pigeons land on them?
Yeah.
Do they?
That's people watching Home Alone 2 too much.
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't.
yeah.
I don't love it. And there used to be loads in Trafalgar Square. It used to be pigeons, hundreds of pigeons like flocking around the place.
Yeah.
And then I think the mayor, was it Ken Livingstone, introduced hawks.
Yeah.
Dealt with the problem pretty quickly. I'll
Right,
tell you
isn't
that.
it? Yeah.
But a lot of places think they're vermin, don't they?
Yeah, I mean,
but I just recently was in Cappadocia in Turkey, and they have pigeon lofts everywhere because they wanted the pigeons to live there because they would use the poo for fertilizer. And they also used it to make frescoes in their churches.
That's cool.
But yeah, they would deliberately have them there. But a lot of places like in Regina, California, it's illegal to own more than 90 pigeons. And of your allotted 90 pigeons, only 50 of them may be more than a month old. It's very specific.
Whoa!
Wow.
So the rest you have to like row out to an island and leave them there.
And them flying, following the back, and you're like,
famously homing bird. Just take these pigeons into the woods.
maybe I have to move to the woods. Maybe that's the only
But
way.
90
the thing is,
90
you
is quite a
can't-
threshold.
Yeah, but you can't really cull them. Like you can use hawks and stuff, but in Basel in Switzerland, they had 20,000 pigeons, and then from 1961 to 1985, they killed around 100,000 every year. But the population stayed stable because when you kill them, they just reproduce and get more and more until they get to their nice level, which is the amount that they have enough food for.
There you go.
Tesla, when he was a child, he once fell headfirst into a vat of boiling milk. And
He fell a lot.
yeah, he was like really clumsy, you would say. As
So
a
was he
child.
like a genius? But if you watched his life, it was like Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Was he
Yeah,
just constantly
I think so.
right?
Yeah, he was quite
Yeah.
dyspraxic, I guess. You
I
say.
went to his childhood home.
Did you? Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
So I get to perform out in Croatia and Serbia, and there's a big argument between Croatia and Serbia about where he's from, because obviously that was back in I don't even think it was Yugoslavia back then. So there's a debate about whether he's Serbian or whether he's Croatian. One of them's have named an airport after him. He's on another one is the other one's their currency and stuff.
Right.
So we went to his childhood home, which they need to. When I say they need to do it up, I'm not suggesting doing the house up, but it's like this really small, tiny town, nothing near it, and they'll take you around and be like, yeah, he fell off. He was struck by lightning, allegedly. He fell off that roof. Came down there, was in a coma for a couple of days.
Right.
And that's where he had a lot of like visions and stuff. A lot of his creations, he would say, came from visions he was having in his head. And then he would invent these things, which is where the conspiracy theories come in of like, you know, when he was 9 years old, he said he was going to invent this thing. And then 30 years later, he died, and it was all from the visions. So when he was 30 and he was having these visions for things he was going to create in 30 years, people are like, well, he was obviously going to do that. Just like the original. And the reason I love him is I think there is something deeply fucking honorable for like this man who did not want to patent anything. He was like, all of this stuff deserves to be free. This would benefit society. There's no benefit to charging people from this. And the fact that the first place that idea was kicked out of him was he arrived on the shores of America. And they went, no, absolutely. Here, let us introduce you to capitalism to the nth degree. You're going to die alone in the richest city in the world.
Yeah. You will have a girlfriend.
Yeah. Who's going to have a lovely pair of breasts.
Okay, it is time for fact number 3, and that is my fact. My fact this week is that the first Swedish translation of Lord of the Rings inspired 2 follow-up works. The first, by Tolkien, was on how not to translate his books, and the second was by the Swedish translator on how Tolkien was actually a dark wizard Nazi.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was
Couldn't get on then.
It was really bad. So this was a translation that was done by Åke Olmarks. He was a Swedish translator, did really big books in his time. So he was a very respected translator, took on the job of doing Lord of the Rings, and it came out and it was just panned. Locally, it was panned. People thought that the translation just added descriptions that shouldn't have been there. The way he phrased certain sentences just didn't run nicely. When you read them in isolation, they don't seem like big changes, but apparently when they're all smashed together in these gigantic books, it really becomes obvious. And so Tolkien took issue with it to the point of writing a guide called Guide to the Names in the Lord of the Rings, and actively used examples from the Swedish translation to show what you shouldn't do.
Well, it's interesting because Tolkien was a philology world master. He was a linguist. He just studied language deeply for 50, 60 years before writing these books. So of course he's going to have
But do you think he wouldn't have spoken Swedish?
I don't think so, no. But he knew when the names had been changed. That was one big bugbear.
Yeah.
He wrote, in principle, I object as strongly as is possible to the translation of the nomenclature at all, brackets, even by a competent person.
But then if you're translating, you don't necessarily need to change the names, do you?
That's what got him so angry.
Right.
But what if someone has a really silly sounding name? They're meant to have a grand name in English and they've got a silly sounding name.
That makes sense.
And actually, I didn't know this, and I did read all the books as a teenager and I loved them. They're supposedly a translation. Like the whole Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He has to explain why it's in English.
Were they in like Hobbit language before?
Yes, it's the story the Hobbits told. It's something called the Red Book of Westmarch, which was written by the Hobbits.
Yeah,
and it's kind of I love a framing device where someone says, "I've just translated this from the original, which is all in Hobbit." Yeah. That's why we have words in here like sausage or whatever.
Yeah,
it's clever.
It's really interesting.
He was a clever guy.
He was a clever guy.
I think he was clever.
Well, Olmarks doesn't think so. Olmarks wrote a book called Tolkien and Black Magic. It didn't get a big distribution, so you have to go into certain libraries in order to get it out, and it was never translated into English. But the blurb reads roughly, it comes to the attention, especially during the last few years, the multitude of Tolkien societies have degenerated to a kind of Ku Klux Klan with the worship of open violence, crude orgies, alcohol, and drug abuse.
Crude orgies?
Crude orgies.
Oh, that's the worst kind of orgy.
Well, yeah.
Pinkies up, boys. Have a bit of class near the ass.
So I found someone who's got a Tumblr account called Upon the Foremost Ship who went to read the book. Cool. And this is the only thing really that I can find out about the details. They say that the first chapter of the book is quite frankly unreadable. All he does is list a bunch of evil or cultish organizations and claim that the Tolkien fans and Tolkien are like that. The next chapter is called The Half-Witted Old Man Tolkien. Never refers to him just as Tolkien. He always calls him Old Man Tolkien. And then he starts having a crack at the book itself. So in the later chapter, he starts starts saying that the hobbits are forever children with no adult supervision that walk around barefoot in the woods. And he says Bilbo specifically has this never-ending birthday party. So crap. He's yeah.
It's such a violent way to not be able to take criticism.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I think Olmarks, the translator, was so annoyed because I'm not to excuse it, but he obviously for years and years people were telling him over and over and over what a bad job he'd done, which I think he probably had. And then at one point, some years later, a fire happened at his house, and he blamed the Tolkien fans. He said that it was arson by
Yes, he really became. I mean, and it's possible that he got a lot of flack to make him paranoid to think that. But he even put conspiracy theories into the book itself. So as you go further along, he says, "Oh, it's all very obviously Tolkien for the first bit, but then the kind of style changes, and he thinks C.S. Lewis wrote the rest of the book."
Oh, what the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. He thinks you only get to a certain point.
Mates, weren't they?
They were mates, and they were part of. They were
Inklings,
in the Spread Eagle in Oxford. They would sit and read these things out at the pub.
Yeah.
So it's a wild book.
Are you a fan, Daniel?
I'm a massive fan of fantasy.
Yeah.
But and the reason I am is from the Lord of the Rings movies. They came out when I was like 11 years old, and they blew my mind. And then I tried reading them when I was 14 or 15, which at the time they were so different from the movies that annoyed me. And it's something I'm going to revisit now. But now that I have a 4-year-old son, where I'm just like, we're getting close to being allowed to show him. I know they say 12. He's seeing it when he's saying it.
The movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, my 3-year-old did all of the Avenger movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
Well, I guess my question with that is like, it's not about, I don't care about the content, but the first time he watches Lord of the Rings, I need him to have the attention span for it to be 2.5 hours and for him to understand that it is the greatest movie series ever made. Like,
you'll be showing him the abridged versions then. Rather than
I'll be doing the most boring stuff, being like, did you know that Viggo Mortensen broke his foot while kicking the helmet of the Uruk-hai in the Two Towers, and that scream is genuine. That's a real fact from the movie that every Lord of the Rings fan knows. Yeah,
that's very good. I didn't know that.
You didn't know? It's such a mean fact now that it's the most. If you watch that movie with anyone, he genuinely breaks his foot, and the scream is real.
Because I remember him kicking a helmet. I don't remember the scream.
Was it him as well who had to climb all the mountains to do the shoots because he was afraid of flying?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Refused to climb up to the top of the mountains in Fellowship of the Ring. So they've got lots of footage of just Sean Bean by himself climbing up a mountain in full Boromir gear through the snow, and they're like, "Well, this actually rules."
He climbed up because he was afraid of flying?
Yeah.
Yes.
But climbing bears its own risks.
Yes, but it's more it was the helicopters. So he's in the helicopters.
I was going to say, how did he get to New Zealand?
Yes.
From Yorkshire.
Yeah.
But if you get your cloak in the rotor blades, I completely understand the peril.
Also, when the hobbits were like, why don't we just get the eagles to fly us to Mordor? It was actually Boromir being like, no, I think we should walk there. I think the eagles is a stupid idea.
That's so funny.
And also, to any nerds, to any non-nerd nerds, the people who say, why didn't they fly the ring to Mordor? What were the last words that Gandalf the Grey said before he died?
Oh, he says fly, doesn't he? Before he goes down into the
fly,
thing with the Balrog.
you fools. It was a secret plan that he had.
Yep.
That he was taking them through to get to the eagles. He couldn't tell anyone because Saruman is everywhere. His eyes were everywhere.
Can we just watch the rest of it, please?
I'd like to be there to see you absolutely ruin these films for your boy.
God, I'm my dad with Star Wars. No.
You could have cheered up your son by getting him a little present because in 2021, some developers attempted to launch the JRR token, a cryptocurrency not based on, but lamely punned after Tolkien, but it was blocked by the estate. Despite the fact they got the actor who played Pippin in the movies to make a video endorsing.
What about the refuse firm from Brighton called Lord of the Bins, who were told to change their name?
Yeah.
They do get. Obviously, they're protective because people will take the mickey otherwise.
Yeah, there was also this year there was a company who were making, it was like a burger van thing called Lord of the Fries. and Tolkien's estate took them to court, even though it's obviously based on Lord of the Flies by William Golding. But they said that they might be trying to pass it off as a Lord of the Rings because people are more familiar with Lord of the Rings than they are with Lord of the Flies. They lost.
Has Michael...
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it is... Because Golding, I don't know when he died, but I think he will still definitely be in copyright.
Yeah, no, they're not bothered.
Okay.
Lord of the Flies people. There's another, not like a translation, but a different version of Lord of the Rings by a Russian guy called Kirill Yeskov. And it's called...
Where Saruman's the goodie.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Is it? I was being racist to
It's
Russians.
called Posledny Kosyenesets, which means the last ring bearer. And it's about... that basically Mordor is a rational, progressive, industrial society, and they're being crushed by the elites of the West who come over and take over.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually, like in Russia, you can get it for sure, and in other parts of Europe you can, but they've never made it in an English-speaking country because they think they're going to get sued.
Well, from what I've read, they've never released it. There's been a translation done, and if you dig online, you can
I
find
found the
it.
translation.
Did you? Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's never been commercially released. Apparently, it's really it's a good parody. It's a pretty good book, pretty good fantasy, alternative reality, kind of thing.
Man, that's...
Do you know why Tolkien came up with The Hobbit in the first place?
The whole book.
Yeah,
Right.
it's through boredom. So he was a teacher at the time, and he was not well off. He and his wife didn't have much money at all, and he took on the job of marking school exam papers. You could do that if you were a teacher at the time. You could just say, right, I'll sign up for a batch, and you got paid per paper that you marked. And the boredom prompted him to write the sentence just on a scrap bit of paper, in a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. And he later said, I did and do not know why. Just sort of... And he had obviously studied languages a huge deal. And, Hobbit, because Hobbit is an old word, and all the names are sort of ancient words. And he'd read a lot of myth from his early childhood. He had a really tragic early childhood, but it just sort of happened. Wrote that.
I do like the idea that he writes "Hole in the Ground" was a hobbit, and the rest of it just writes itself.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. He had a big problem, I think, because a lot of the way he wrote it was trying to make certain things sound archaic and ancient.
Right.
But in some European languages, that's just the way sentences work. Like the German, German sentences are the other way up. You spend ages waiting for the main verb. Yeah. And so if Tolkien has written, wise are the ways of the blah.
So does that mean that Yoda doesn't work in German?
Yoda's probably Yoda's the only normal talking guy in those films in German. Everyone else,
Germans love him. They're like, he gets straight to the point. It's noun feeling. We love that. He's...
Easy to comprehend. Yoda is.
That's very funny.
Interesting.
It's weird with all the litigations that go on, and we had Ella Al-Shamahi on this show. She's an anthropologist, paleoanthropologist, and there was a hominid that was found that it was very short, and so they were known as the hobbits, and the estate got in touch saying, you can't call them hobbits, even as part of your... Yeah, it's pretty wild, like, to the length that they go, which is surprising then that for the last 50 years or so, still in print is the book Board of the Rings, which was the Harvard Lampoon book. So the creators of National Lampoon started in Harvard, and they wrote this book, which was an outright... I think I read it when I was... or I read bits of it when I was younger. So you've got Bilbo and Frodo were Dildo Bugend and Fritto Bugger, Goddamn for Gollum, and it's... They've never been out of print. They've sold millions globally. It's been translated.
Is that American laws or parody laws? Sometimes you're protected if it's...
I guess so.
Because it's so clearly a parody.
I guess so, yeah.
Interesting.
We mentioned C.S. Lewis earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is dedicated to someone called Lucy, who was the daughter of his friends. And he sent the copy to her mother and father, Owen and Maud Barfield. And Maud was so worried that people would read it and then kids would go into wardrobes and get stuck.
That is such...
She made him change it. So if you read it, whenever the kids go into the wardrobe, they're always really careful to leave it ajar for when they come back out again.
Oh, that's so you changed it within it.
I really like the fact that somebody in C.S. Lewis's life was like, you need to change the story so that kids don't lock themselves in cupboards, whereas everyone in J.K. Rowling's life was like, and then they just run into a fucking wall at a train station. Just keep that in. Not only keep that in, put that in every book and make it like a really big part. It's for 9-year-olds. This book is for 9-year-olds. Make sure Stephen Fry does it on audiobook and describes that happening every time.
Stop the podcast.
Stop the podcast.
Hello, everybody. Just to let you know, we are sponsored this week by Aura.
Aura, yes, Aura are the digital frame company. Now, Andy, Mother's Day is coming up. And
Yes.
Normally I'd buy my mum a nice bunch of flowers or something, but what if I could give her a photograph of some flowers?
It's not just that, James. It's a rolling carousel of all the photos of flowers you could ever imagine. Aura Frames is an incredible digital photo frame where you can upload photos to the frame. So if you give your mum one of these, she will be able to see what you've been up to. You can say, oh, I would love to send this photo to mum, and you can do it, and it'll appear on her frame. It's a very, very cool way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. They are really amazing. We advertised these guys a little while back, and we now have 3 of them in various different relatives' houses.
Wow.
Because it's free, unlimited storage. You can personalize your gift when you buy one of these Aura frames, and a gift box is included as well. It's so easy to use. I definitely would recommend it.
Absolutely. Unlike flowers, they don't need their water changing after a week.
In fact, don't water them at all.
Don't water them at all. I should have said that. It's a fantastic personalized gift. So, for a limited time, you can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.co.uk to get £35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named the top frame by The Independent, by using the promo code FISH at checkout.
That's Aura, AURA frames.co.uk, promo code FISH. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so order yours now to get it in time for Mother's Day. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
On with the show.
On with the podcast.
Okay, it's time for a final fact of the show, and that is James.
Okay, my fact this week is that in the 1950s, the Alabama drafts champion proposed to the twin sister of the world drafts champion with the aim of creating a family of drafts geniuses.
Yeah.
She declined. So I've been reading about this guy called Marion Tinsley, and I think he is better than anyone else in the world at one thing, which is drafts. More than anyone in history has been better at anything than everyone else in the world.
That's a big claim. Wow.
I reckon.
I think you might be right.
I think I can
Go on.
outdo you. This is going to sound like a stretch.
We
but
know you're
I've got
good
a
at
fact.
comedy, Dan. This is not like...
We just think the person who's second best is not far from you.
No, man. Tiger Woods.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger Woods, my favourite stat about Tiger Woods. So the way golf works is there's a bunch of tournaments. There's 4 majors, or like the big ones, there's 4 of them a year. In a 10-year period, if you were to total up Tiger's score in all 4 of these majors every year, so 40 tournaments over 10 years, his score was 112 under par. So 112 shots under par. In second place was Phil Mickelson over those same 10 years with a score of plus 121.
Yeah.
That was second place.
Wow.
So like Phil Mickelson was like the greatest player of his generation. Unfortunately, he played at a time when the greatest ever to...
Interesting.
100% I agree that Tiger Woods was by far the best golfer of his era. But this guy, from 1948, when he took up checkers or drafts, until he died in 1994, he only lost 9 games.
Whoa.
And 2 of them were against a computer.
Yeah.
And by the way, when he played the computer, who could calculate 3 million positions per minute and looked 21 moves ahead and had been loaded with every game he had ever played, he played the computer 49 times and he beat it 4-2.
Right.
With all the rest were ties. This guy is just unbelievable.
He's so great.
He's amazing.
And
do you know
of those defeats? You said he lost 9 games. So 2 of those were to the computer. 2 of them were trivial errors.
Yeah.
He just we call it a fat finger error,
Yeah.
There's one time between 1950 and 1992 that he was outplayed.
Right.
He was probably a bit poorly at the time or something. It's
And
unbelievable.
do you know what drove him to do all this? What the fire was inside of him
pigeon.
to get
He
him
loved
there?
a pigeon.
He loved a pigeon.
His parents could only afford a chess board, but not the chess piece.
We've got some Pontefract cakes, but they've gone off, so we're not going to eat them. But
Half of them have gone off and turned.
The origin story all comes back to him being absolutely furious and pissed off with an old lady called Mrs. Kershaw,
I
who
hate her
beat him in a
already.
game and beat him game after game. He still talked about it in interviews afterwards. Oh, how she'd cackle. He would like be seething about it. And he went into a local library in America and he found all the books and he learned all the things and studied the hell out of it. And that was it. That was the moment for him.
He was
Toxic masculinity, baby.
yeah. And he used to do blindfold checkers. So you've probably heard of blindfold chess. Like Magnus Carlsen could play chess blindfolded amazingly well,
Yeah.
as can they all really. Blindfold checkers is way harder because like you're only using half the board because you only use the white squares, right? And there's fewer pieces, but they're all identical. And so you can't say, well, the horse is here and the castle's over here and the queen's over here.
Yeah.
They're just blobs on a board. And to remember where everything is,
Wow, yeah.
it's just absolutely incredible.
That is
it's
incredible.
Almost impossible.
There was a guy who was one of the greatest at the time, some say the second best while he was still playing, called Derek Oldbury. And he says, this guy, Tinsley, was to checkers what Leonardo da Vinci was to science, what Michelangelo was to art, and what Beethoven was to music, and what Daniel Sloss is to comedy. That's
I'm glad he had that foresight.
No,
yeah.
it's crazy. He was such an interesting man. He retired for 12 years because there was no competition at one point, and they kept having world championships, but they sort of said, well, obviously Marion is the best.
Yeah.
You're sort of playing to be...
The second best.
Well,
the
yeah,
non-parity champion.
effectively, yeah.
It's what David Letterman said about Robin Williams when he suddenly went into movies and stopped doing stand-up. He was like, we all collectively as stand-ups just went, well, let's just pretend that didn't happen. Because he was so good. It was such a whirlwind.
Yeah.
It was like, that's just changed the game.
But in 51 years of play, he won about $100,000 in prize money in total.
Yeah.
There's not that much money
It's
in
not
drafts.
big, is it? Yeah.
It's
not.
weird, isn't it?
I would have
Like-
thought that it would have been a multi-billionaire. Yeah.
This thing with the computer, where he later on was playing against a computer called Chinook, it was developed by a young computer programmer called Jonathan Schaefer, who was fascinated by two things, drafts and computers. And, you know, when Tinsley played against Chinook, he loved it. He said it made him feel like a young man again.
Yeah.
Because he could play so well that playing against a human was so
Boring.
trivial. Yeah. He first played Chinook in 1992. They had a set in 92 and then another set in 94. And then very sadly, he realized he was terribly ill during the 94 games and he died not long after that.
Yeah.
But in 1992, when they first played Man Against Machine, it made some clever little move. And he said, you're going to regret that. And to see that was an error on the board, a human would have had to look, as Tinsley did, 64 moves ahead.
Wow.
And the thing about checkers is and drafts is it's quite simple. If you look one move ahead and your opponent looks 2 moves ahead, they'll beat you. Right. But then if you look 3 moves ahead, you'll beat them because it's quite a simple game. It's all about looking what happens next and what happens next, what happens next.
Right.
So if he can look 64 moves ahead, you'd have to be able to look 65 to beat him.
Right.
And when he beat this computer, people said, you know, how on earth did you beat the computer? And he said, well, humans programmed the computer and God programmed me.
Yeah.
He was quite religious.
He was
as
very
well,
religious,
yeah.
wasn't he? And he was a... Did he...
Yeah, that checks out. Like, yeah, if you're getting that, if you're getting that good at checkers, you're not getting laid.
You know what? He said to a newspaper reporter that I read, he said, I haven't seen a checkers marriage that worked out. It's a very rare woman who could be married to a real student of checkers.
Well, that's being polite, at least. It's saying the problem is probably more with me than...
I think which is fair.
I do love that someone who thought of themselves as so good that humans were not part of the scene anymore for them.
It's so funny. He's like, I'm gonna have to start banging pigeons. I'm so unbelievably good at checkers.
My favorite fact about him is that he died in a town called Humble.
No.
Humble, Texas.
Well,
That's
he
funny.
was, in a way, he said there's a sort of Christian concept called the fellowship of suffering. And he
Ooh,
said there
I
is
hope
also...
the Tolkien estate didn't hear about that.
He said there was a sort of checkers fellowship of suffering. You know, it's grinding to go through it. And also, he said he couldn't have much of an ego because every time he said I play drafts to an adult, they would say, "Oh, my little boy plays drafts. You should give him a game. That'd be nice." And he's saying, "Well, I think I'll win."
It's like being really good at FIFA.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the greatest FIFA player in the world is 37 years old, and that's sad.
Master players, of which we've established there are a few, but one amazing sort of Don champion, they develop these things called cooks, which are moves which throw your opponent off. apparently.
Yeah.
And they've all got names. I love this because you don't start. Chess. You start with
An opening.
an opening.
The Queen's Gambit.
Precisely, yeah.
Gambit. In checkers, I think you don't do that.
What did you say they were called?
These are called cooks, which
As in
people do.
C-U-C-K?
No.
Like cuckold?
Cooks. Cooks. Like a person who cooks food.
Oh, a cook.
Like a cook.
Like cook.
Yeah. Because I'd say cuck for what you're describing.
Oh, sorry. In my hearing,
Yeah.
they're the same. Like cook and cook are the same word.
Ready, steady, cook. But basically, you don't start in the starting position when you play competitive checkers. You draw a 3-move opening from a stack of approved openings, and that gives one player a tiny advantage. And then if you make a mistake, your opponent can pounce. Because this thing that Jonathan Schaefer, the computer guy, worked out, in 2007, he solved checkers.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear? There was a mystical story about what happened.
Sorry, did he work out that whoever goes first wins?
He worked out that if both players are perfect, they draw.
Okay.
Oh, okay, great.
But if you have these approved openings, then one player has a tiny advantage.
Understood.
So he'd been working on this for many years, running hundreds of computers around the world, playing through all the permutations to work out, basically to finish checkers. And in 2007, they knew the end was pretty near, and they were getting closer and closer to having completed the calculations for it. And there'd been some kind of power outage, and he was furious because if that's happened, you need to restart them all, you need to do everything. Like, it's just really a laborious process, he said. And he opened the screen, and he saw the word, ta-da! And it's what he'd programmed in way ago, years ago, when he'd started working on these calculations. And that was the sign that you've finished it. You've worked it out. It's just so nice that he programmed it in.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was a draw.
His own eureka moment that he programmed in himself.
I know. And he'd forgotten that he'd forgotten he'd done it.
Wow.
He'd
That's
forgotten
very
he'd put
cool.
ta-da in.
That is very cool. Checkers, as I know it, hugely popular game over in the States, particularly. There's lists that you can read are like the most popular board games that you can get, and it usually comes in second, at least according to fun.com.
After Mousetrap.
Yeah, what do you think it's after?
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap locked in.
Board game for Americans? Their favourite board game?
Shoots and ladders.
Oh, maybe sick in the mouth. Yeah, I would say Monopoly.
Yeah, it comes in, according to fun.com, it comes in third underneath checkers. The top is chess, right?
Sure.
And
sense.
they say that over 50 billion units have been sold of checkers games going back, because it's a very ancient game. It's thousands of
billion?
50 billion. That's a big
Hang
number.
on, that's everyone alive on the planet today owning 8 sets each.
Yeah. Yeah, we've all got 8 sets.
I'm not sure how many humans have been alive, because population is...
Yeah, I think that's one for every person who's ever lived.
Yeah, but that makes sense. I've definitely owned more than...
That's true.
You got to remember back in the days, before we had phones, you remember when you went to the airport, you
Yeah.
would get like a magnetic
Yeah.
checkers set there.
Every pub would have one.
Yeah. So that's like, 3 or 4.
That's one per pub.
right?
I'm with Dan.
then
I
the-
reckon I've had at least 3 or 4 as a kid.
In my childhood, I would even say, like, giving Christmas presents, birthday presents before Xboxes and stuff, I probably owned up to 10.
Come on.
Yeah.
We would be wading through checker sets. We would notice there would be a commission to deal with the problem. This is crazy. 50 billion. Just numbers pouring out of you.
Take it up with the boffins at fun.com, because this is a solid number. Okay, that's it. That is all of our facts. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to get in contact with any of us about the things that we have said over the course of this podcast, we're all online. I'm on @Schreiberland on Instagram. James?
My Instagram is no such thing as James Harkin.
Andy?
At Andrew Hunter M.
Dan, where are you?
I'm on Instagram, Daniel Sloss. I'm sure I've got other stuff. Just my name.
Yeah,
on whatever platform.
Just put his name in. Yeah, and if you want to go see Andy and Dan play live at Wembley this November.
Yes,
Yeah.
28th.
Give us the details. 28th of November.
20th November, Wembley Oval Arena. Obviously, biggest gig of my life.
Well, you can also get to us as a group on podcast@qi.com. So send us any emails there. If you send us some facts, that's going to make its way to our Monday show, Little Fish. If you send any thoughts about new ideas that we should be incorporating incorporating into our shows, any just general bits of feedback, Andy's going to bring that to Drop Us a Line. You can find Drop Us a Line as part of Club Fish, so go to patreon.com/no such thing as a fish. You'll find all the different tiers that you can get involved with there. Or just come back next week, because we're going to be back again here with another episode. We'll see you then. Goodbye.